All right, so let's have a look at lesson two. Now you've got some instructions which I've sort of got over here. They're small, but you could bring them up large to look at. And what you need to do is you need to make the 2 pages for this. One of the pages is a product description, and that has all this text and the image, and it has a table. And the important thing about this table is that the table headings are down the side instead of across the top. So vertical headings instead of horizontal heading. Uh, and so that's done a little bit differently than, for example, this one, which is in another file, which is our contact details file. And so we see the headings across here. Now, another thing that's happening in this table that we're going to do today is we've got, if you look at the retail shops row, this row, the retail shop text spans 2 rows of telephone numbers. Whereas the other rows are all just individual rows. So we have our headings across the top, and then the text on the side, but some of the text spans more than one row. So we use this special attribute called row span in the table row command. Um, sorry, the table row tag. Then the other thing that we're doing today is we've got this special emphasis on this bit of words here, so we use that EM tag for that. So let's look at all of those now. Let's start with the product details. Now, if I double click on that, you'll be able to see the actual rendered in the browser. That's open a browser for us, and there's the first table. It's a little bit different than shown here because we actually have some CSS in this that you haven't got, which styled the table for us. But the important thing there is that it has the table heading down the side. So let's look at the actual code of that. So I'm going to open brackets of that data, and we can see here for the table, for each row of the table is there, and each row starts with a table heading. So instead of having one row with all the table headings in it, we put a table heading at the start of every row, and that's how we get our display. That's how we get our table headings on the vertical down the side. They're the start of every row, and that's all that is. So just making your table and putting a table heading at the start of every row. That's all that's required to achieve what we wanted to do. So that's what we're doing there in that one. In the second one, with the contact support, again, I'm going to open it with brackets so that we can see. And then looking at that table, what we've done here is in the, so we got our headings at the top. Maybe I should say that first, right? So the first row, everything is a table heading, right? The whole thing is all table headings. So we got some other special things in there. We're using some classes. So this is so we can get our widths exactly right. And that's coming in a later lab. So that's a little bit of a preview of a later lab. But the table data, table data for each row when we get down in these rows, in this row here that holds the retail shops for the text, we're making the retail shops span 2 rows. And so we have one row that's in with the retail shops, and that row ends there. Then we got another row that's going to be spanned in with it. And notice that there's no text field there. And so what's going to happen is that text field is going to span 2 rows. And how does that look? Well, if we look at that, and we will see something like that. So the retail shops are there, and it's spanning 2 rows of those other things. That's done with that row span attribute of the data TD tag. All right, now the last thing there is about making the toll-free number emphasized, and we do that with these EM tags. And so when you see that rendered, you see it's rendered there in these italics. That's the emphasis that we're getting there. All right, so that's all we had on